Hey guys, this is Lauren from Desert Scuba Girl, and today we're going to be going over assembling your kits. So first thing we want to do is inspect our tanks. So I have a 63 cubic foot tank. I prefer these. I'm only 5 foot, so they fit me much better than the 80s that tend to hit me in the back of the knee. So I highly recommend, if you're a smaller individual, asking your dive boat or dive operation if they have any 63s for you. So first thing we're going to do is look for our hydro stamp. So the rule is every 5 years these tanks need to be hydro. This is a fairly new tank, so it was done, you'll see it up towards the neck here, in August of 22, so that falls within those 5 years. Next we want to go over to our visual inspection sticker. This is done by my local dive shop. It has a 1-year service interval, so this was done in December of 22. Next, we're going to go to the top of our tank. So tank valve cover on means this is a full tank and has 3,000 pounds of pressure in it. So we're just going to pop that off. Sometimes they're a little bit difficult. Next, we're going to look at the O-ring inside here. So this one is brand new, has no nicks or tears, and is there. Final thing we're going to do on inspecting our tanks is smell our air. So heads up, if you have headphones, this is going to be a little loud. But we're going to smell our air. Smells like nothing, we're golden. Smells like something, don't dive it. So we're just going to open it a little bit and close it back. Again, sorry if you have headphones. So they didn't smell like anything, so we're good to go. So from this, I am going to grab my BC. This is the DC that I dive with. This is an off-long Axiom. This is what my local dive shop uses, and this is what I use to complete my open water. It's a jacket style VC with integrated weights. So next, we are going to take the back side of it. We have a tank band here, and this has the grip lock system. Really like these tank bands, and the top to go over the neck of it. So we're going to pull it over, right over the top. Make sure this is attached so you're not fighting with it. This top part is going to flip right over the neck. So the rule of thumb with your VC on your tank, take your fist and put it on top of your valve, and it should be about, the top should be even with the top of your fist. I personally like it a little bit lower. And then we're going to take flat hand up against that and push it. You'll kind of feel a little resistance. Stop. Flat hand, smack it down so you're not smashing your fingers. So tank valve here always faces towards the back of your head. So you're going to keep a hand on your tank because you never want to leave your tank unattended. You're going to grab your regulator. Personally, I like to stand behind my tank, keep it between my knees, or between your feet if you're standing up. So a trick with your regulators, if you're having problems remembering which way it goes, which side has what. So you're going to take your primary, and you're going to flip it to the back of your neck, just like how it sits when you're diving. Air is always on your right. Inflator hose, any other computers, those items are on your left. So you're going to take that straight overhead, and from there, things we want to look at for our regulator is this dust cap. This dust cap is what keeps your first stage clean. If that dust cap is missing, there is a likelihood your first stage has water in it, which means it needs to be serviced. So on the inside here, we have a circle. We're going to line it up with our tank. Fits right in. You're going to take these 3 fingers and screw this on. You do not need to ratchet down. Just a little bit till you get resistance. As you can see, you don't have much grip strength there. You don't need to crank this down. It's going to have 3,000 pounds of pressure behind it. And when you're trying to take that off in between dives, you will sit there and fight with it. So we don't need to do that. So we have this loaded up, everything nice and square. Now I'm going to rotate this for you guys to see. So next we're going to go with our inflator hose here. Nice braided hose. This is our inflator. This has a couple of hooks for it, so we have a line right here to hook into, along the edge, and up here. Now you notice I have this big red and black thing. This is called a quacker. I highly recommend on your dive kit to have some type of noise system, noise device with you. My husband, who's my primary dive buddy, and I have kind of a quacker system, if you will. 1 quacks means there's something cool to come see. 3 quacks means there's an issue. I highly recommend having that discussion with your dive buddy before you get in the water, so you guys have an understanding if something happens or you see something really cool. So next, a nice trick with this has this little part to go in and out to secure it to this area. You need to take your thumb and your pointer finger, pull that back. When doing that, if you wrap your bottom, so your middle to your pinky finger at the bottom, kind of push that with your thumb and create a right angle, it'll help on those little bit older ones that like to give you a little difficulty. So we're gonna pull back, we're gonna shove this on, push that forward. Oop. One more time. Those little things are getting stuck in there. Push that forward. You can kind of hold it and pull it with the other finger if it's being a little difficult. We're going to give that little tug, perfectly secure. Next, we're going to go into this Velcro piece. This is a nice little feature, keeps that from flying back when you're doing a giant stride. Next, some people have air integrated computers or a pressure gauge. I have a pressure gauge as a backup to my computer. I like redundancy. So we're going to feed that up through our side pocket here, up through that little hole, and then we have no things dangling down that can damage coral when we're diving. Because remember, we leave bubbles and nothing else. Next, we're going to move on to our primary and our octo. So there's 2 places you can put your octo. You can put it in this little pouch right here on your BC, and that's perfectly fine. My preference is an octo holder on the front right here. You just want to make sure for 2 things with your octo. A, it's in that triangle that is discussed in open water, and B, it is secure somewhere that you can easily grab. You don't want it floating behind you, possibly getting up under your tank or getting caught behind you. So it's easily accessible if you need to donate to your buddy or something happens with your first stage or your primary. So we have everything connected from our regulator. Next, we're going to charge our lines. So a trick here, you're going to take your computer face down. I'm going to take my primary and crisscross it over. I'm going to hold that with my thumb. So your thumb is going to go over your purge valve here, your purge. So the thing, you want to have your thumb down, and you're going to turn your tank valve until you hear air come out of here. Once you do, you'll release your thumb. Make sure that glass is facing down just in case it does explode. So open, there it is. Let go with your thumb and we'll open it all the way. Next, I like to look, perfect, 3,000 pounds. So from this point, I like to lay my kit down and finish assembling my gear. Now, I prefer to lay it down. Typically, I do diving from land, so I tilt it down where I can go and get the rest of my items, like my weights. If you're on a boat, they typically have like a PVC cone for your tank to sit in, and then it has a bungee on the top to secure it. So you can leave it like that, just fine. So next, we're going to go into our weights. I have integrated weights on this big seat. That is my preference. I like that over a weight belt. So I'm just going to grab my weights over here, throw them in the pouch, Velcro it down, and with the other one, Velcro it down. Now, with the Sherlock system that Aqualung has for their BCs, It has this plastic part on the top, and they're slightly curved to match the curvature of your jacket. So plastic part up, you're gonna drop that in. You'll see the little locking system. The thing with this is you always want to hear that click. If you don't hear the click, it is not secure. So there's that click. You can grab that in-between part, give it a little tug, it's secure. One more time. Curve, plastic on the top. Put that right in that little hole, and we want to hear that click. There it is. Give it a little tug, and it's secure. So once we have done all that, next you would go into BRAF to go over all those parts of your gear to make sure they're fully functional. But I wanted to go into a couple tips and tricks that I have in setting up the rest of my gear where I consider my kit completely set up. So one, I always like to have defog on my BC. This is a gel one. When I'm dive mastering, generally in this zip pocket, I will have a big spray bottle full of water and baby shampoo mix there. The other thing I like to have on my BC from teaching and just being on the boat is some way to identify my BC. Dive equipment tends to all be black, so a way to identify your gear very quickly. So I just have my name here. This is great for students, so they can see I'm a pro and they can have my name right there, easily accessible for them. Next is my dive computer. Since I have a wrist unit, I like to put it on my left D-ring on my shoulder. So it sits about right here. I like to keep it here for a number of reasons. One, it's on your kit. You know where it is. And two, when you're on a dive boat, have everything set up, you're trying to get your wetsuit on, trying to get in the water as fast as you can because you want to go diving, it's very easy to get left behind. It's a very small piece of equipment. So you're in the water, and you go to look at your depth and you're like, I don't have my watch. It's already on your kit. All you have to do is take it off and put it on. You're not having to get the boat captain or the boat DM to be like, hey, I need my computer. So that's a great way to avoid that. Second thing I really like having is a D-ring. This is just a simple one from REI. I like to have it on that left D-ring as well. I use this for one of two functions. You can use it to clip your mask on. So I have my mask, and on there, in between dives, all my stuff stays together. Very easy. Or two, when you're finishing your dive and you're coming up on that boat trying to get up the stairs, it's a little chaotic. So I have my atomic split fins here with the spring strap on it. Highly recommend getting a spring strap. It makes your life a lot easier and you're not spending time trying to fiddle with your fins on and off. Great little upgrade for your fins. On the back here, it has a little hole, little hook, so I can just take my carabiner and hook it through. Now from here, you can do one of two things. A, you can hand this up to your boat and your fins stay together. Or two, you can hook it to that D-ring and now your hands free. So when you're trying to climb up that boat ladder, when there's waves, you're not having to hold onto your fins and holding onto that boat ladder. You have much better grip and control getting up that ladder. And then all your gear stays together. Final thing I like, so I have my mask. This has a fast strap from Aqualung. I highly recommend these, especially for divers with long hair. As you can see, I have very long hair. This keeps my hair from getting ripped out from the rubber ones that they traditionally come with. And I like how it sits a lot better. It has a lot better kind of situation around your head. And you're not going to rip out your hair or get that snorkel business caught up in your hair where you have your mask hanging off and you're like trying to find another like female diver and be like, can you disassemble this, please? So that's the final one. A lot of the times when I'm waiting, kind of have my gear on, kind of just waiting for that go ahead from the boat captain that we can get on, is I'll have my mask facing backwards with the strap on my forehead, and then I can easily throw it on and be in the water. So that's everything I have for my kit set up. These are kind of just the basics and things I like to have on my gear to make life a little bit easier and better diving. Join us next week for more dive content. Until next time, keep following the bubbles.